So you've just shot and developed your rolls of film, and now you have a bunch of these negatives. What now? Well, you could get a flatbed scanner, which could cost you several $100s, but I'm on a budget, so let me show you my setup and how I scan these films using my digital camera. First, you need a camera. So I'm using the Panasonic Lumix S5, but you could use any DSLR or mirrorless camera that you have. Next, you need a macro lens. This is really important because you can't achieve a clear scan with a regular lens. Unfortunately, modern macro lenses aren't really cheap, but you could save money by getting some older manual vintage lenses like the Nikon 55mm f3.5 and then adapting it to your camera. But then most of these lenses don't have a 1:1 magnification ratio. So after doing some more research, I decided to get this one. This is the TT Artisan's 40mm f2.8 macro lens. I got this one brand new for under $100 on eBay. So this lens, which is a macro lens, does have a 1:1 magnification ratio, which basically means that the size of the image on the camera sensor is the same as the actual size of the subject. It's important because it ensures that you capture all the details and maintain the quality of your film negatives. Next, you need a light panel. This is pretty simple. You could get this one from Amazon for like $20. Then you'll need something to hold your film flat for scanning. I was searching around online and I got this thing on eBay for about $30. It works fairly well, nothing fancy. I just open the top part, slide the film in, and then close the lid, which is magnetic. So the film stays in place and stays flat for an even capture on the camera. I see many YouTubers also recommend the Essential Film Holder, which is kind of similar and it looks pretty promising. It's a little bit more expensive. I think it's closer to $100, but that's another option that you could look at. Finally, you need a tripod, which I'm sure most of you already have. You just need it so that the camera can point downwards. Okay, here comes the fun part, which is taking the pictures of these films. So for my camera settings, I typically shoot in f8 or f11, and I set it to the lowest ISO to reduce any digital noise. Since it's going to be a slow shutter speed, I recommend having a remote clicker or shooting it with a timer to reduce any potential camera shakes. After shooting everything, bring the SD card to your computer and then we can convert the negatives. Alright, so after importing all your photos, I prefer using Lightroom just because I'm used to it. But if you don't have Lightroom, I'll show you a different method afterwards. First, you gotta set your white balance. Just use this picker here and then click on the border. And now you just have to go to tone curve here and then first click on red, invert, and do the same for green and blue, just invert them. And there you have it. You have a normal looking image. And play around with the adjustments here. That looks pretty decent. You're just basically inverting the colors. You're doing it manually. But as you can see, that took a long time for just one photo. So there's actually a much better and quicker way to do this. You just have to use a plugin called Negative Lab Pro. I'm sure many of you have heard of it. Press Ctrl N to open it, and there it is. That literally took 2 seconds. And now you can kind of fine tune the colors and the brightness, contrast, change the white balance, mids, highs, and lows. So using this plugin, it's quicker, more customizability, and it looks better than how I did it manually. So let me do a couple of more photos here and then you can see how it turns out. Now, if you don't have Lightroom, you can use this other program called Film Lab Pro. So just crop the photo so you don't see the border and then click on color negative. It's pretty quick. Change the settings a little bit. It looks pretty good. I don't think it's as good as Lightroom, but it gets the job done and it's a little bit cheaper. It's subscription based. So you pay, I think, $8 a month. So that's my film scanning process. It's pretty simple. It's not the most perfect setup, but it is relatively cheap. I'll probably start upgrading some things such as getting a better film holder. But yeah, let me know what you think, and if you have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments. Hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.